The king is the most important piece in chess, and knowing how to use the king effectively is the difference between winning and losing chess games. From the very beginning to the last move of the game, you need to know when to keep your king safe and when it's time to bring it out of hiding and use it to attack. Let's take a look at some examples of how to use your king. One important part of any chess opening is castling, so that your king can find a safe place to hide. The king hides while the rest of the pieces battle it out in the middle game, trying to control the center, win material, and attack the enemy king. However, if the game gets to the endgame, where most of the pieces have been traded away, your king becomes one of the most active, useful pieces on the board. White's king attacks both the knight and pawn. The king is actually quite powerful because he can move in any direction, one space. The king attacks both rooks at once, winning one of them on the next turn. So while the king is not fast, he's strong, as long as the king is not vulnerable. Once most of the major pieces have left the board, the king becomes a very strong piece in the endgame. Now that it's safe to move out of the castled position, both sides should activate their kings, moving them toward the center and trying to help escort the pawns up the board. Watch as one side activates their king and the other just pushes pawns, forgetting that in the endgame, the king is an active piece. White plays f3, opening up a path for the white king to move toward the center. Black should do the same thing by playing f6, or play king to f8. Instead, Black just pushes pawns, and White's king travels up the board and brings home the win. After h5, king f2, g5, king e3, f5, and king d4. Black keeps pushing pawns, forgetting that the pawn on b5 is all alone and could have used help from the black king. Now it's too late. After f4, White plays king to c5. And after g4, White captures the pawn with king takes b5. After g takes f3, and g takes f3, Black finally realizes that the pawns cannot advance without the help of the king, but it's too little, too late after king f7 and king c6. Black realizes that White is going to promote the b-pawn, so tries to block the promotion square by playing king e7. Dreaming of getting to the b8 square, but White ends all hopes after king c7, preventing the king from getting closer to the pawn, so Black tries to chase after the pawn from behind with king e6. But after b5 and king d5, the king cannot catch White's pawn after b6, and White will promote to a queen and should win the game quickly. After looking at these examples, let's see if you've learned how to use your king.